So if someone is a member of, let's say, even something like the Church of England, right? Because I went on their Instagram page the other day and was frankly astounded by what I was seeing right there displayed on the front page of their Instagram. I'm like, is this really the same church of going back hundreds and hundreds of years? Like, is this the same church? So, I mean, what do you make of it? Like, you've obviously had experiences dealing with mainstream denominations. Like, what do you make of it, and what are we to make of it?
I think the Church of England is apostate. I think it will be dead probably within our lifetimes. Actually, church attendance is taking a nosedive. They've taken on board so many liberal policies, from remarriage of divorcees, when the church has always taught that marriage is a lifelong, indissoluble union between one man and one woman. Taking on board contraception, which disrupts the sexual act from God, disconnects us from God, and makes sin affirmed action. Being fluffy on abortion, the killing of babies, infanticide is the gravest evil of our time. The church isn't speaking out on it. And we've seen this, over the last 2 weeks, as we record this conversation in the UK, decriminalization of abortion, making it one of the most liberal countries in the world for the killing of babies, has been pushed through. And the Church of England has been like...
Yeah, and even euthanasia as well.
Euthanasia was followed. So the Church of England's stance on assisted suicide, assisted dying, euthanasia, whatever euphemism you want to use. So women, priests and bishops, although Christ never did that, the Church of England has pushed that through. The Church of England had no authority to unilaterally decide to alter the way that priests, bishops and deacons are seen. And so there's every single step of the way. Oh, and homosexuality. The Church has always taught that same-sex attraction is something that people struggle with, that they should be helped with, because people are either called to marriage, which is again between one man and one woman, or they're called to chastity. And if you can't submit to marriage, you should submit to chastity. And now the church is teaching, do both. Marry a man if you're a man, marry a woman if you're a woman. It's an impossibility. The Church of England has lost its way. I believe it's no longer a church. I believe it is apostate. There are good people within it, good priests and good congregations within it, but the majority, 99% of the bishops, are liberals now, and so it's a liberal institution, and liberalism is contradictory to Christianity.
So really, you would say that they're the ones who have split from the historic faith, rather than those who have sort of left it and moved to another communion. They're not the ones that have split.
They're all split. Like leaving to find a sound communion, you're still splitting. But the Church of England isn't split in the first place. This is the problem. This is what we do as sinners,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, I think there are people who probably would feel convicted about leaving. Because I know I
recommend people do leave. I don't think it's good to stay in the Church of England at all.
Well, it wouldn't be good for your spiritual health, that's for sure. Because it comes down to, are you willing to be in submission to someone actively teaching against the scripture? That's impossible. So anything is better than that, as long as it's at least biblically consistent. But I know there are some people who have pushed forward. Like, one of the things I've seen online is this Reconquista movement, the Redeemed Zoomer kind of thing of, trying to retake the historic denominations. And I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it or not. I don't know if it's a fight worth having.
It's a pipe dream. Conservatives have been losing institutions throughout history. How many of them have they ever reclaimed from the liberals? I can't think of any prominent examples. It just doesn't happen.
No.
The moment we concede ground to liberalism, the liberals take over the institution, they destroy it, it rots. We can either build a new institution or we can destroy that one. It's very unlikely to reclaim them. And at this point, it's impractical too. I mentioned a moment ago, 99% of the bishops in the Church of England are liberal. I can think of one, maybe two that aren't. But the process for electing new bishops in the Church of England goes through a civil servant who happens to be an active homosexual. So to get new ones in is impossible.
Right.
It's, Reconquista is great for taking back a country when you have an army, but you can't take back an institution when you have nobody. It doesn't work. It's a pipe dream. Bless him.
Yeah, I can't see it succeeding, but at the same time, I kind of appreciate the effort at least, and I appreciate not giving up. But at the same time, I would feel conviction about remaining in a sinful church community. If a church community is not being faithful to scripture, I don't think I could. That's the point where I couldn't stay in it any longer. So
you have to shake the dust off your feet and move on. And actually, I'm an accelerationist. I believe the Church of England should implode faster. It is in managed decline right now. It just needs to decline, get out of the way, so the Christian faith can thrive again in England.
I mean, I think I'd seen the warning signs for years, though, because it became like a social club, really, more than a vibrant church community. At least that was my experience of it, where it was a community where people could, find a little committee to be involved in that took care of something, and met and had nice lunch and voted on things, and it was
tea and sandwiches.
Yes, well, it was. I mean, Vicar of Dibley was prophetic. That's this sort of shows what it's become. It's just a community organization. And there's positives to being involved in community, but not when it's meant to be doing a much more important job. So it's I think of things like the monarchy, institutions like the monarchy headed by or governed by the Church of England, the monarchy governs the Church of England. And I think, coronations and things in the future, are they effectively shams at this point? Is that just a sham ceremony with no real spiritual effect? Or is that the way it's going to be in the future? When will that moment come? Because I guess the monarchy is going to be secular at some point soon.
It is. It's already done. I think Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II, or Elizabeth the Great, was the last Christian monarch. I don't believe the King of England is a Christian. And if he is, he's doing a very bad job of it. He didn't promote Lent, Ash Wednesday, Shrove Tuesday, barely promoted Easter. He couldn't even speak about Easter without bringing up Islam. Yeah, he promotes Ramadan, Eid. He was there creating Eid gifts and stuff. Like, he's massively in support of Islam, which is contradictory to Christianity. At the best, it's a Christian heresy. At the worst, it's demonic. And so he's lost. He's off down the beaten path. Unfortunately, he's promoting the enemy of Christianity, which is taking over a Christian country. And I don't think his son is any better. I think Prince William is probably an agnostic at best, an atheist at worst. And so we have a king who shows favor to Islam, who doesn't really support Christianity, hasn't spoken out on abortion or euthanasia, for example. And it's not going to get any better in the next generation. And so who knows, the generation after that, it may be too late. And from the king's coronation, Christian service, a Eucharistic service, in the true cross was present. This was the first coronation in a long time with unity between the Church of England and the Church of Rome. There's all kinds of hope there, but at the same time, he had a multi-faith aspect. He had all these exotic faiths to greet him on the way out. The Prime Minister was reading the epistle. We had a heathen reading the epistle for the first time in our country's history, which, again, in the Catholic Church would be illegal. By canon law, you couldn't have someone who's not a Christian reading the Bible in a Christian service. It's absurd. You wouldn't expect that in any other faith. But in ours, it is supposed to be, because we're supposed to be diverse, inclusive, and equitable, which aren't Christian values. So I don't think, actually, the monarchy will survive much longer than the Church of England, unfortunately.